So first you asked me that question, what's it gonna be like when we go back to work? I just wanna correct that right away. We're not going back to work, we're going forward to work. So you need to take the best of the best that we've learned in this virtual world, and as we go forward to work, marry that in with the great things that have always existed with what we do. But here's the number one tip I give to all leaders, and so I can't stress how important this is. You need to check in a lot more and at a deeper level. And so this is the tip that's working the best. So I want you to check in, start today doing this with your team, is ask them, how are you doing on a scale of 1 to 10? How are you doing on a scale of 1 to 10? So get used to that, do that this week. Then next week I want you to ask, how are you doing on a scale of 1 to 10 in life? And then how are you doing on a scale of 1 to 10 with the organization? And they can't say 10, so there's always room for improvement. So ask, how do we get you to a 10? And that'll give you the feedback that you need on a daily basis. So let me repeat that again. Ask them, how are you doing in life, 1 to 10? It can't be a 10. And how do we get you a 10? And then secondly, how are you doing with the team, with the organization, with our company on a scale of 1 to 10? And you can't give me the answer of a 10. How do we get you to a 10? When you have that information, now it's actionable. You can actually help that person. And now you know. You're not just caught off guard when all of a sudden Susie decides to leave. You've been having these daily conversations with that performer, top performer or underperformer. And it's mind-boggling how much this helps. But we don't do this because we're just used to being at a restaurant and the server comes up and goes, how's the food? Oh, it's good. It's fine. Unless it's terrible, you're not going to tell the server that it's dreadful. And the same holds true at work, especially when you're the quote-unquote boss or the leader, is you've got to do these check-ins and then tell them they can't say 10 and how can it be improved. Now, as you go down and get more comfortable, what you should do is also ask them, how are you in 1 to 10? You can't use the number 7. The reason is because 7's a safety number. When you start doing this, you'll see almost everyone answers 7. And if you remove 7, they have to either say a 6 or an 8 or higher, 6 or lower. And when you think about 60, that's a failing grade. You think about 80, that's pretty good. And so you're removing that safety. And so again, if you do nothing else that's different, when I say we're going forward to work, when this new world that we're living in, this virtual world, get rid of the annual review. You got to check in with your most important resource each and every day, and that's your team. That's the only thing that cannot be commoditized. So you've got to check in and figure out how are they doing. They're living and breathing. How are you doing? It's going to vary day to day, and you need to know that. And so it's really helping where you can, knowing your boundaries. Don't overstep your boundaries, obviously. Use your emotional intelligence, but always do those check-ins. And so that's the main difference. That's the difference we live in today. It's not an annual review. It's an all the time check-in.